Hey there, it's Teacher Elizabeth with another art tutorial for you. Today we're going to learn how to draw your dream house in one-point perspective. All the images that you're seeing here I found on the internet and thought were really creative. The title of the tutorial is Create Your Own Dream House, One-Point Perspective. Not only will you design your dream house using one-point perspective, but you're also going to choose where the house will be. All right, let's get started. First, I need to show you the art materials. Very simple: pencil, paper, and a ruler. Next, you're going to be drawing a horizon line. You're going to choose where you want the horizon line to be. I did mine in the upper half of my paper. You could choose to do it lower or in the middle. Next, you need to add a vanishing point. That's that dot I just placed on the line. In these 3 quick studies that I drew, you can see the effects of placing the horizon line on a different part of the paper, as well as changing where your vanishing point will be. In this example, the horizon line is low and the vanishing point is off to the left. In this picture, the horizon line is a little above halfway and the vanishing point is a little closer to the center. The choice of where you put your horizon line and vanishing point will impact what angle you're going to be seeing your dream house in. All right, let's get started. The first thing I want you to do is to draw a rectangle with a trapezoid on top. Try to make it the same size as me. Here's a list of the different geometric shapes you will be using throughout this tutorial. For the next step, please take your ruler, line up the bottom right corner of your rectangle with the vanishing point and draw a diagonal line. Then after that, I want you to take your ruler, line it up with the top right corner of your rectangle and draw another diagonal line to the vanishing point. And then I want you to come to the top of the trapezoid on the right and draw another diagonal line to the vanishing point. Next, I want you to take your ruler and line it up with the right side of the rectangle and redraw the line. Then shift the ruler over and draw another vertical line. You've just connected the 2 diagonals and you've made the side of your house. Now you need to make the side of your roof. You're going to line up the ruler with the far right edge of the trapezoid and then slide it over to create another diagonal line at the top of the back edge of the roof. Next, we're moving on to the front of the house where you're going to draw a series of windows and doors. They don't have to look like mine, but I need you to have windows on the top floor and the bottom floor. Now we're going to move to the side of the house to add windows. Step 1 is to create 2 lines that represent the height of the windows. Make them the same height as the windows on the front of the house. Next, take the ruler and line it up with the bottom of the lines and the vanishing point to create little dashes. You're going to do that on the bottom of the line and the top of the line. You're drawing the top and bottoms of the windows, and then you connect those 2 lines with a perfectly straight line. The only lines that should be angled are the tops of the windows and the bottoms of the windows. So I'm cleaning my lines up a little bit and I'm going to move on to the second set of windows. Use 2 lines to create the height of the window. Make sure those heights match the height of the far side of the windows you just drew, so they'll be smaller than the previous windows. And once again, you use the ruler for the tops and bottoms of the windows to create that diagonal that lines up with the vanishing point. And then you draw 2 more perfectly straight lines to connect those diagonals. The reason why we do it this way is to make the windows look like they're in perspective, like a real house in this image. If we do it incorrectly, the windows won't be in perspective and will look off, like they do in this picture. Next, I'm going to add the details of the windows in the front, and then I'm going to add them on the side. One thing to note, the middle line of the window panes must line up with that vanishing point. So line the ruler up with the vanishing point and draw those diagonal lines. Then come through with the ruler and go over your lines to make them a little cleaner and straighter. Next, we will add a path leading up to the front door by lining up the ruler and the vanishing point with the bottom corners of the door and drawing diagonal lines. All right, now we got to figure out where you want to live. So this is the part where you figure out where you want your house to be. For me, I'm from Kansas and I enjoy the Midwest, so I'm drawing my house on a farm. I'm going to keep my farm very simple. I'm just going to add a big, huge leafy green tree in the foreground and then some flowers at the base of the tree. You pick what you want to create. You do not have to copy what I'm doing. In the next step, we're going to add details to our house to make them like our dream house. So I'm thinking I want a farmhouse with maybe a couple of chimneys. So the first chimney I create is a square at the top of the trapezoid of my roof. Next, I'm adding an addition to my house. So I'm using a parallelogram at the top and then a rectangle at the bottom to create a bigger house. And that next shape I'm drawing is a square, and that's going to be the garage. On top of the garage is going to be another part of a parallelogram. You could also think of it as part of a trapezoid. Now I'm going for my windows using rectangles, horizontal rectangles as well as vertical rectangles, and then a big bay window in the front with a curved top and lots of small paned glass windows. Next, I'm moving over to the garage. Because it is on a farm, I want my garage to look like a barn, so I created barn doors. Now I'm adding little details at the top of the roof. It could be like a gutter. After that, I started thinking about the insides of the windows, and maybe I'd see some curtains, so I'm using those little triangle shapes in the corners of the windows to make curtains. And now I'm adding a little ledge coming off of that bay window. In my dream house, maybe I'd want to put some plants out there. All right, so the very last thing I'm going to do is add a little more background. It felt kind of empty back there, and maybe some clouds in the sky. So my dream farmhouse is complete. I want to show you one more example just for ideas. So let's say I'd rather not live on the farm and decided to live out on the coast of Maine. I'm going to start with that same house we all drew together and add to it. So first I added the rectangle with the partial trapezoid on top for the roof, and now I'm adding a lighthouse. I'm going to make my lighthouse with a big cylinder and a cone on top. Inside the cylinder is going to be the light itself that I create with a couple of overlapping ovals. Those diagonal lines are supposed to be the light. And now I'm adding a window with an oval and a door with a partial oval. Since I have a lighthouse for a house, I'm going to put it on the edge of a cliff. So I create that cliff using diagonal curved line to make it feel like a ledge on the side of a cliff. Now I'm adding some more rounded windows to my house, and I'm going to turn all the windows that we initially created earlier into rounded windows. So you can change the nature of the initial drawing any way you want to. You can use it as a basic structure to then decorate. I'm adding shutters with a couple of long rectangles that I then draw a bunch of horizontal lines through to make it look like the slats of shutters. And then in order for somebody to come visit me, I better draw a path leading up to the front door. So I line up the ruler with the bottom corners of the door and line it up with the vanishing point. And this time I created a curve. Now I'm adding all the final details and redrawing my lines with the ruler. The background sky is getting some big clouds. I'm feeling like it's a cloudy day, maybe a little stormy. And then if I want the cloud to feel like it's further away, I draw it smaller, like I'm doing there. And that's it. That's my coast of Maine lighthouse house. And then I've also got my farmhouse in Kansas. So it's your turn. What kind of cool dream house do you want to create, and where do you want it to be? Thanks so much for being creative with me today. Please share your work with us and have an amazing day.